Today we are doing the reverse of what we would normally do. We are taking someone from light to dark, and it did take 5 formulas. So if you want to see my formulas and how I did this today, then stick around and watch the rest of the video. So this babe is ready to go back to the dark side, but she doesn't want to go as dark as her natural, which is, I know it's hard to tell on camera here, but her natural is like a level 2, 3. It's very, very dark. And we want to go to more like a 5, 6. So today I'm going to start by filling her with equal parts 777 and 755 in Royal with a 10 volume developer. So what that's going to do is it's going to fill in all of her blonde areas. And you can see that I'm doing my best to not really touch any of the darker bits. If it's on there a little bit, that's okay, but we're trying to not really saturate a lot of her natural darker hair. We're focusing on getting good saturation on all of her lighter hair because this is what's called a fill. So I'm using only orange and yellow tones to put back these color molecules into the hair and lower down the level, because right now she's like a level 8.5, 9, and she has a bit of gold in there. But in order for her hair to not look muddy and swampy and hollow, we want to fill it in with some orange and gold. And so what I told her was, if we're going for a rich color like the color of mahogany wood, we need some reds, oranges, and yellows. And reds can kind of come in a little bit later, but oranges and yellows come in first because we don't want our, hair to look like a hollowed out log in Shrek Swamp. We want it to look like mahogany wood, very rich and warm and vibrant, and still to work well with her natural. So this is what it looks like when it's all applied, and I'm going to let that sit for about 30 minutes and then rinse it out. Here it's looking quite nice and orangey. This is exactly what we want to see for our base because it's going to help fill the hair and keep the porosity more completely even throughout everything as well. As you can see, those ends went a little bit more orangey. That shows that it was more porous in the ends. So now our second formula is going to be just for our roots, and I'm using equal parts of Schwarzkopf Royal, and I'm using 5-16 and 5-1. So this is going to be a cool toned chocolatey brown, and it's going to be quite dark. And I'm using a level 5 on her roots because I don't want to actually lift her root a ton. Again, we just want to keep her low maintenance and give it a little bit of shine and just a tiny boost of warmth. So a level 5-16 has a cendré, which is like a blue tone, an ash tone. It's a light blue mixed with a chocolate, and the chocolate in Schwarzkopf has a red undertone. So this is where we're getting a little bit of our red fill, but I have, equal parts mixed with the 5-1-6, and 1 is the dominant color in this. So it's more of an ash than it is of a chocolate with equal parts of a 5-1. And that's going to make sure that we don't get hot roots, orange roots. And I'm applying that just to the first ½ inch of her hair because then we need to have a different formula for the next part of her hair. For her mids, we are using 6-16 with a 20 volume developer. And a 20 volume developer is important here because it's going to give her a little bit of extra lift and warmth here. And we ideally want to lift her to a cool level 5.5. and blend in this red area here. And that's going to be our struggle today, is to make it look seamless from one into the other, but still give her a slightly deeper root. And again, allow for a very rich color that's going to grow in very softly. However, she will likely need to come in and get a refresher, a glaze done once every couple of months, because that's just the nature of when you're going from light to dark. That old light bleach is going to spit out color. So the more fills that we do, the more the color stays in, and the more often you color it down, the more closed the cuticle gets, and it gets harder for the hair to spit out color. So, if you're on this journey yourself, don't worry. It just takes some time and patience and repetitive coloring. This is what her hair looks like when I've covered just the mids and the roots. And it's okay if those colors blend a little bit because that's all part of making it a seamless look. Then her ends formula is equal parts 6-00 and 6-16. And this is with a 10 volume developer because 10 volume is going to just deposit. We're not wanting any lift because, again, this is bleached hair, so we don't need it to lift. We only need it to deposit. So we have equal parts of a 6-00, and that's our double natural in Schwarzkopf. What I really like about Schwarzkopf's naturals is they are a warm, orangey brown base. So this is going to provide her with a little bit more fill And I'm also using 6-16, which is, as I explained earlier, a cendre chocolate color. So it's like a matte chocolate almost. And what I'm doing is I'm mixing them equal parts because I need the fill and the control of the natural, but I also want to make sure that I have balance between the roots, mids, and ends by having a similar formula through these ends here. So something very important to keep in mind when you are doing fills going from light to dark, you're going to be seeing it if you miss any spots. If you don't saturate well, you're going to see little blonde patches in the hair. So that's why I like to use a comb and brush everything through. And I also like to use my hands so I can really feel if everything feels like it's getting saturated enough. And you can just see how fast I'm working here. This is just in real time. I haven't sped this clip up here, and I'm just taking by decently large sections, but I'm really working the color through. And it is okay at this point for me to be merging those colors, smudging the lines in between, because again, I want to have a seamless blend from the roots down to the ends, but we are still going for a slightly lighter effect down towards the end. So she has almost a bit of a balayage kind of ombre effect, and so she can grow it out nice and soft. So something that I could have done here, but I chose against, is going with a level 5, because level 5 on previously bleached hair, I find in my experience, can tend to go a little bit dark, especially when you're using an ashy level 5, because those overly porous ends are going to suck up color and not want to drop it. I'd rather be on the safe end and go with a very natural base level 6. And if I need to glaze over in the sink later with a level 5, I will do that. But I want to give this more fills before I start going darker with my color, if that makes sense. So once this is, fully applied and it sits for 35 to 45 minutes, just depending on what timing you have that day, I've rinsed it out, and you can see that the roots and the mids to ends are a different color, but the roots and the mids are the same. So that's a great formulation there. I'm very happy with that, but I do need to glaze over and fill a little bit more here with these mids because they've just dropped some color, but they are looking like a really nice soft, like a beigey mushroom brown. So if this is the tone she was going for, that'd be great, but we do want it to be a little bit richer and deeper. So I'm gonna glaze over that with Schwarzkopf Vibrance, and I'm gonna be using a 6-volume gel developer, and I'm just using level 50. This is her before, just as a refresher for you guys. And, very happy with what we got here in the end. Here it is in our salon lighting, the indoor lighting. You can tell that there is some warmth in there, but not over the top. I didn't want to make her super reddy toned because we can always add a little more red later on if we needed to. And then here it is styled and trimmed in the natural indirect lighting. She did have a lot of previous damage with being blonde, so this is why we decided to go to dark. She wants to just be lower maintenance, keep her hair healthy, and this was a really great change for her. It looks gorgeous on her, and I think that it looks very healthy and shiny, and it was exactly what she was going for. So, I know this was a little bit of a different video today, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and comments on what it was that I did, and if you'd use these formulas in the future. Let me know in the comments below, and please remember to like and subscribe to help support this channel. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a wonderful evening or weekend or whatever it is you're doing. Have a great time. Love you guys. Bye.